Downtown Kansas City, Missouri on a chilly Midwestern evening. Temperature expected to drop near freezing tonight. Arrowhead Stadium, it'll be jammed to capacity tonight. Kansas City taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford, Al Michaels, and Dan Dierdorf. A terrific setting for tonight's matchup between two of the AFC's finest, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kansas City coming into tonight's game at 6-2. They're off to a good start in the first half of the season, but they need a win tonight to stay within one of Denver in the AFC West. Meanwhile, the Steelers come in at 6-2, and they need to win tonight to stay one up on Jacksonville in the AFC Central Division. And, Al, this is a very tough stadium with all the noise, with everything going on here, with the great fans, to win when you're on the road. But somehow or other, the Steelers have found a way to do that.
They have figured out the mystery, and I don't know what the answer is, Frank, but they played 7 regular season games here since this stadium opened in 1972, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are 7-0 in those games, including a big Monday night victory last year. They've won 5 straight, and they've come from behind to win 4 of those games, so they are now the comeback kings. They haven't lost since that Monday night botched snap loss to Jacksonville on September 22nd. Led by Kordell Stewart, becoming more productive every week, and now one of the most exciting players in the National Football League. And the bus out of the backfield, the number 3 rusher in the National Football League, 245-pound Jerome Bettis. If the Pittsburgh Steelers can come into Kansas City, win a 6th straight game, win on the road here, they'll be 7-2, and clearly, along with the Denver Broncos, will establish themselves as the cream of the crop in the American Football Conference. But Dan, easier said than done, because the Chiefs, like the Steelers, are 6-2.
And if they win tonight, they'll be right up there with Denver as the cream of the crop, Al. And you know what? In Kansas City here, they're hoping that the third time is the charm. That the third time they try a former 49er quarterback to lead this team, it really works out. For 2 of those years, it was Joe Montana. For the next 2 years, it was Steve Bono, to varying degrees of success. Now it is Elvis Grbac. And what a start he's off to here in 1997. 11 touchdown passes and only 5 interceptions. He's got a newcomer wide receiver in Andre Rison, and he's off to the best year he's had since 1994 when he was still in Atlanta. So it is a rejuvenated Kansas City offense. Defensively, Derek Thomas is healthy. It's them against the bus tonight. We've come to the great state of Missouri. Monday Night Football and the kickoff at Arrowhead right after this.
Remember, if you like your football weather cold and your football hard, because that's what we're going to have tonight. I'm Lynn Swan. Welcome to the sideline. Head coach of the Steelers, Bill Cowher. Bill, your team on the ground, averaging just over 164 yards. Against this opponent tonight, do you continue to try and just jam it down their throat?
Well, we got to do that, but we also have to be able to throw the ball. We can't get caught in 3rd and long with this crowd and the noise. So running it and having a good balance will also be important there, Lynn.
Coach, thank you. Good luck tonight.
Thanks a lot.
Al?
Thank you, Lynn. Bill Cowher loves Monday Night Football. This is the 13th game he has coached on Monday night in his 6th season, and his record, 10-2. Pete Stoyanovich to kick off for Kansas City. Jam-packed Arrowhead Stadium, the liveliest place in the league. Kordell Stewart awaits his turn, and he'll get it after the run back by either Andre Coleman or Curtis Marsh. Marsh, number 17, Coleman, number 19, each recently picked up. Marsh, a former Jaguar. Coleman had been with San Diego and then Seattle. So each team 6-2. Arrowhead is rocking. And here we go on Monday Night Football as Stoyanovich sends it to the 6-yard line. Andre Coleman, who ran back a kick in the Super Bowl following the '94 season for a touchdown against the 49ers, brings that one out to the 31-yard line. Tackled there by Clyde Johnson. And now Kordell Stewart has had a tough time in the first half of games this year, has been brilliant in the second half. And behind him, the bus, Jerome Bettis, with Tim Lester, the great blocking back, Yancey Thigpen, and Courtney Hawkins, the wideouts, Mark Bruner, the tight end. Good line. Jackson, Wolford, Dawson, Stye, and Strelzik. Dermontti Dawson making his 141st consecutive start. The Pro Bowl center. From the 31-yard line, they begin with Bettis. And a 5-yard gain out to the 36-yard line. Chiefs play a base 3-4, though Derek Thomas moves up and down. Booker, Phillips, and Browning are up front. Then Thomas with Wayne Simmons, the ex-Packer who came over a couple of weeks ago. Donnie Edwards and Anthony Davis. Good secondary. Carter and Hasty at the corners. Tongue and Woods, 2 second-year guys, the safeties. Second down 4 from the 37-yard line. It's Bettis again on what should be a recurring theme tonight. Jerome through the middle, tackled by Anthony Davis. It'll be third and a couple.
Well, we'll see a lot of 36 tonight. Make no secret about it to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the man that carries the load for them. The bus averaging 4.6 yards every time he carries the football. He's up over 900 yards already rushing. Now they get into what they consider the pass situation. The bus goes to the barn, and we'll see the 3 wideouts.
And when the bus goes to the barn, they bring in George Jones as Stewart lines up in the shotgun. 4 wideouts, 3 of them set to the left side. Stewart, after one-handing the snap, is lucky it wasn't picked off by Anthony Davis. So 3 and out. Last week, Stewart's first pass of the game against Jacksonville was intercepted by the Jaguars, and he almost duplicates that feat here, but it's 3 and out, and Josh Miller is in to punt.
Plenty of time for Kordell Stewart. And Anthony Davis, who has turned into an excellent linebacker for Kansas City, was right there. Got a big hand up there.
Tamarick Vanover to run it back. Josh Miller to kick it. Good kick. 53 yards. Vanover, with not much room to work, is stopped at the 19-yard line. Steps out of bounds at that spot, and here comes Elvis Grbac backing up Steve Young in San Francisco. They thought they could sign him, but he chose to opt for free agency and inks with Kansas City, and they love him. To this point anyway. Greg Hill starts at running back. Kimball Anders the fullback. Risen and Dawson the wideouts. Ted Popson, ex-Niner, the tight end. Creswell, Zott, Grunhard, Shields, and Parker up front. Zott, Grunhard, and Shields, the 2 guards and center, have started every game together over the last 4 years. Grbac throws, and it's Kimball Anders. They'd love to go to him out of the backfield, and Anders with enough for the first down. A 12-yard gain. He's run out of bounds by Donnell Wolford. Steelers play the base 3-4. Harris and Steed is terrific in the middle, and Henry. And then Gilden, Kirkland went to the Pro Bowl last year. Holmes and Greg Lloyd are the linebackers. In the secondary, Wolford. Carnell Lake is now playing corner again. Myron Bell is the starting strong safety. Darren Perry is the free safety. First down from the 31-yard line with Dawson in motion, and Greg Hill picks up a couple as he takes it to the 33. We'll see Hill. We'll also see Marcus Allen playing his usual role. There he is, the change of pace, and also they're using Donnell Bennett a little bit more. So Marty Schottenheimer, as you look at Bennett, can go to 3 different running backs. Meanwhile, Levon Kirkland is slow in getting up, and timeout for the moment.
It really isn't what Marty wanted to do at the beginning of the season. He wanted to go primarily with Greg Hill, a running back, but now it's almost running back by committee for Kansas City, a situational running back situation for them, and I'm not quite sure that Greg Hill likes it, but it seems to be what Marty Schottenheimer feels is the best thing for the team at the moment.
You saw a very veteran Jerry Osowski checking himself into the Steeler lineup. The Steelers are blessed to be able to go to a 9-year veteran to finish Levon Kirkland's work on the inside for however long Kirkland is out. Kirkland might be the best run-stuffing inside linebacker in the game of football. Jim Haslett, the defensive coordinator, does not want to see that type of talent leave the game at such an early stage. Is on the right side of your screen. Watch him knife inside the block of Shields and get hit there, right on the helmet by the left knee of Greg Hill. Kirkland being talked to by the Steeler training staff, and that's the kind of a shot, Frank, we see it all the time. Well, it's like Steve Young, the opening week of the season. The knee to the helmet wreaks a lot of damage.
It certainly does, and he took it square on the side of the helmet, and they're taking a long look at him on the sidelines.
Jerry Osowski in to replace him. Second down and 8. Grbac throws over the middle, and Ted Popson makes a circus catch at the 47-yard line, but no. After initially 2 officials looked at it and thought it was a catch, the umpire who came from behind the play as Myron Bell provided the coverage on it, said no, he didn't hold on. The ball hit the ground, incomplete.
Pops at another 49er who has added a lot of punch to this offense in the passing game. Good receiver from the tight end. The West Coast offense that Hughes under Paul Hackett needs that tight end, and you can see it was not in control of the football when he went down. But the tight end has become very important for Kansas City. There are 3 tight ends combined, 44 receptions.
Third down and 8. Grbac. And just has to throw it away as the secondary does a terrific job. Nobody, not even the safety valve, was open that time. And it's 4th down and 8.
Yeah, Grbac bought himself some time. He got out of a lot of trouble, avoided the sack, and got outside the area where he can throw it away. He's maybe not what the athlete that Kordell Stewart is, but he buys a lot of time in the pocket.
And Jason Gilden gives him a little shove that knocks Elvis off balance, and not much of a hit, but it's enough to make him take a roll on this dry turf. Cool temperature in the 30s here in Kansas City, but the field in great shape.
Louis Aguiar to punt, and it's a bad wobbly kick. Andre Coleman back to receive it, but it won't even come close to getting into Coleman's territory as it rolls dead at the 36-yard line. And a flag is down, and Ron Zook, the special teams coach, is nearly apoplectic. The referee tonight is Ed Hockley. Curtis Marsh and Danon Hughes got into it as the ball was about ready to roll dead. A little fight ensues, pushing and shoving, and here comes a flag, and you see Zook in the background.
It's one of those where the guy who draws the flag is usually the second man in.
And that was the last shot, was the one by Marsh.
After the play had ended, personal foul by the receiving team, number 17. Unnecessary roughness. 15-yard penalty. Pittsburgh keeps the ball, first down.
You can almost count on it when 3 or 4 punches are traded. The last one, more often than not, is the one that draws the flag. Such is the case here.
And we're back in Kansas City. Pittsburgh with the ball for the second time. Bill Cowher in his 6th season has guided his team into the playoffs in each of his first 5 years. And the Steelers begin this drive at their own 21-yard line, 1st and 10. Kordell Stewart throws over the middle. It's tipped and it's incomplete. Donnie Edwards got a hand on it. We talked about Stewart getting off to very slow starts this year, but really coming on strong in the second half. Monday Night Football being brought to you by Dodge Durango. New ground for the new Dodge. Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services. Miller Lite, now official beer sponsor of the NFL. And the Home Depot, America's home improvement coach. 2nd and 10 from the 21-yard line. Bettis met at the line of scrimmage. Chiefs converging. Donnie Edwards helping out. Number 59, the second-year linebacker from UCLA. Kordell, when you look at his numbers first half and second half, he's like 2 different people. And he's part of the reason the Steelers have been so proficient in coming from behind. Ranks 30th in the league in the first half, best in the league in the second half. 2 touchdowns, 8 picks before halftime. 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception after halftime. And tonight he's 0 for 2, so it's a typical start. Under pressure, stepping up, and the erstwhile slash running back, wide receiver, quarterback, shows you why he is so dangerous. As Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator, knows his unit has its hands full.
And why it's such a big game for Kordell Stewart is this is on the road, and he is yet to win that first really big game in a very hostile environment. They've won at Baltimore. They've won at Cincinnati so far this year. They've lost the big Monday night game down in Jacksonville. But this would be a real rite of passage for Kordell Stewart if he's able to engineer a win here at Arrowhead tonight.
That last passage was 11 yards on the ground on 3rd and 10. So on first down now it's Bettis, and the big bull takes it to the 36-yard line. Anthony Davis makes the tackle, and when you watch Jerome Bettis play on this field, you think back to the Chiefs and guys like Christian Okoye.
And that's the type of a guy you have to go to get that type of size. He's a full 250 pounds, Jerome Bettis, and with a temperature like tonight, this is a type of a night where a big man can go forever.
And he loves Monday nights.
Yep.
The last 4 Monday nights, 100 yards or better.
And he went over 100 yards here last year against this same team, so you know the confidence is there.
2nd down and 6, and they give it to him again, and the workhorse explodes into Kansas City territory and gets hog-tied at the 35-yard line by Jerome Woods.
Huge opening on the right side, and that's what happens when you bring up 8 in the box, as they like to say defensively, to try to stop the running of Jerome Bettis. If he gets through there, you can stop him with that defense, but if he gets through, he's going to get a big gainer. That may have been his best of the season, but a huge block there.
We saw Brendan Stye get out front and put a block on Reggie Tongue, and
Stye just back from a key injury, and he's a good addition to this offensive line.
I think, again, it's the best run-blocking offensive line in football.
30-yard gain, his 2nd longest gain of the year.
Okay.
Stop for next to no gain. Tom Barnt in the middle.
If you're between a rock and a hard place, if you bring everyone up there to stop him, bring your safety men up, put 8 up in the front to try to stop Jerome Bettis. If he gets through there, gets any kind of an opening, he's going to get big yardage, and he is going to put some real hurting on little defensive backs who try to bring him down. He's 250-plus pounds, and he can motor with it.
Came into the game averaging 4.6 yards a carry. 2nd and 10 from the 34, and Stewart has to take a timeout. Timeout Pittsburgh. With the Steelers on the move. 8 minutes 38 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Cowher and Stewart going over things in Kansas City with those scores.
Pennzoil
To Kansas City. Our only stop here this year. Our aerial photography tonight provided by Goodyear. Arrowhead Stadium, about a half-hour drive east of downtown, is the site as play resumes after the Pittsburgh timeout. 2nd down and 10 at the Kansas City 34. And Stewart pressured, stepping up on the move. Flag goes down. He's close to a 1st down. A flag down back at the 43-yard line.
Well, Brendan Stye pulled out to lay a block to clear Stewart, and they're going to call holding. Ed Hockley, the referee, was right there. Stye just coming back. He broke his ankle in their opening game this year, and he's working his way back into the lineup.
Holding by the offense, number 68. 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Stye did everything he could do just to get there to pick off a blitzer. I think it's Anthony Davis. Watch him coming in from the left. There's Stye, and he grabs him and he hooks him. But he did what he had to do to keep Anthony Davis from having an 8-yard running start and putting a tattoo on his quarterback.
It was a little more dramatic because Anthony Davis saw that Kordell Stewart was going to run, and Stye did not.
2nd and 20 now from the 44-yard line. Great protection. Stewart with time. Wide open is Courtney Hawkins, who busts a tackle, busts another tackle, and scores. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
Ooh, baby. Go find some place to hide if you're in the secondary for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a little embarrassing to tackle like that. First of all, it's embarrassing to cover like that and leaving that wide open and then to blow tackles.
Wow, they appeared to be in a man-for-man defense. At least most of them were in man-for-man. And it was Jerome Woods who gave up the coverage. He looked like he thought he was going to have help deep. He did not have help deep.
And then Donnie Edwards, the linebacker, he runs all the way downfield, and when he gets there, he doesn't do much.
Norm Johnson for the extra point. So on 2nd and 20, Courtney Hawkins, after 5 years in Tampa Bay, heads north. That's his 3rd touchdown catch of the season, and Pittsburgh leads 7-0.
And that is one way to quiet down Arrowhead. the defensive backfield coach with his back to you there, talking to his guys about one of many mistakes that this secondary has made so far this season. They're ranked number 29 in the NFL. They've got 4 second-year players that start for this defensive unit, and they have made lots of mistakes, and we just saw one illustrated there.
Norm Johnson's kick, a good angled kick, taken at the 7 by Tamarick Vanover. And the dangerous return man is stopped at the 24, tripped up by Fred McAfee. Good special teams performer, and he proves it right there. Well, they're calling it Judgment Day in college football this Saturday. 4 of the 5 highest ranked teams in the nation going head to head. And you've got regional action. Michigan taking on Penn State in a huge one at Happy Valley. Nebraska #1 going to Columbia to face Missouri. Stanford, USC, Georgia Tech, Virginia. And then on ESPN, #2 Florida State meets #5 North Carolina this Saturday. And that game is a night game at 7:30 as Kimball Anders carries the ball up to the 33-yard line. We talked about Hill and Allen and Bennett, and Anders is another guy who gets the ball not that often as a running back per se, but as a fullback who catches it.
He was originally a free agent with the Steelers way back in 1991, and they let him go, and he worked his way through the practice squad and IR to where he's been to the last couple of Pro Bowls. A very versatile back out of the backfield, a good receiver, leading receiver a year ago for Kansas City.
And on 2nd down and 1, they go back to Greg Hill, who tries to fight his way for a first down. And is stacked up by Nolan Harrison. It's going to be very close, perhaps a measurement. What a sight this is. Arrowhead Stadium, and incredible foresight. I mean, the plans for this laid in the late 60s, and it was constructed and finished in 72, and it looks like it was built about a week ago.
And the lines of this stadium, the symmetry, architecturally, it's still a thing of beauty, and they're busy celebrating its 25th year here in the National Football League. And I pulled up in a bus with the St. Louis Cardinals in August of 1972, and what a breathtaking sight this is with the side-by-side stadiums.
First down from the 35, Grbac. Buying time, and then flings it downfield and finds the open man, and that is Andre Rison. In his first year with Kansas City, goes into his Spider-Man routine. That's what he's calling himself these days, and it's a 22-yard gain on his first reception.
Well, but he kept that alive for Grbac. Grbac, again, buying time. He's not the great athlete, but he moves around really well, and it was Andre Rison who gave him an angle with which he could deliver the football, concentrates it on the ball, gets it into the hands, makes sure that both feet come down, and he's having just a fabulous year.
But Grbac demonstrated something there, Alan Frank, that I think a lot of people weren't 100% how well he throws and delivers the ball with accuracy when he's on the move. I think everybody knew that he was a classic stand in the pocket, big, strong guy who, when he got to step up, could deliver an accurate pass. But it's how well he throws it on the move that I think is surprising a lot of people.
At 6'5" and 232 pounds. He hands the ball off on first down to Donnell Bennett. And Bennett takes it to the 33-yard line, and that's close to a first down. Tackled by Harrison.
Good yardage against a blitz, a run blitz by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And again, when you get caught in that blitz and you get the opening, you get big yardage out of it. And it's Darren Perry, the safety, who has to make the stop.
And these are good holes against a defensive team that nobody has had success running with the football against this year.
2nd and 1, and they give it to Bennett again, and Bennett takes it to the 32-yard line, which should be enough for the first down as Joel Steed in the middle makes the tackle.
Levon Kirkland is out of that defense for the moment, but Joel Steed, Levon Kirkland, and Earl Holmes, they give you a heart of a defense against the run that is about as good as there is in the league.
And Osowski has been a starter most of his career, so even though, and there is Levon Kirkland,
he is back.
Now back in the lineup.
You might not know the area code, but he's in there.
Well, when you weigh 275 pounds, you have your own area code.
Marcus Allen is in the game, but he is split wide to the right as a wide receiver in this set, and going downfield, and Grbac looking over the middle and throws, and it's off the fingertips of Lake Dawson.
Oh yeah,
beautifully delivered by Grbac. And Dawson, I don't know.
That was right there.
He's coming off an injury, missed 4 games with the knee. He's had a kind of a chronic knee problem, but this one's delivered beautifully, and you got to be thinking the ball all the way into the hands, not who's going to be popping you.
Right. Now what Elvis has to do is not be too demonstrative and show up his receivers when they make a mistake. You just have to Elvis grin and bear it.
2nd down and 10. That's Kimball Anderson. Dan, you're exactly right, because Grbac did the exact same thing in St. Louis last week when Dawson wound up losing a ball in the lights.
Yeah, it's a bad habit for a quarterback to get into. Dropped passes are going to happen your entire career, and you will overthrow receivers as well, and you don't want them making a show downfield as well.
Quick look at Paul Hackett, the offensive coordinator, former San Francisco 49er coordinator under Bill Walsh. Along with Bill Walsh, helped develop this West Coast offense that they use here in Kansas City now.
3rd and 9 at the 31. Steelers leading 7-0. Elvis has that one picked off. No sooner do we put up a graphic than Donnell Wolford ends the streak. He's into Kansas City territory and banged down by Dave Zott at the 47-yard line.
Well, it was a disguised blitz on the part of the Steelers. They came with what appeared to be a corner blitz, and I think Grbac, his read quite naturally is going to be the outside receiver, is going to be single coverage by the cornerback. That was not the case. They really foxed him on that.
Right at the 25-yard line at the top of your screen is Lake Dawson. Elvis Grbac looks like he's expecting Dawson to run a curl. Dawson runs it a little too deep. Disguised coverage had something to do, but he throws it right into the hands of Wolford. And at the conclusion of that play, over on the Kansas City sideline, Grbac and Dawson went at it pretty good. They were in each other's face, jawing it out.
Well, the quarterback and the wide receiver on a blitz have got to be in sync, and they were not.
Now the Steelers at the Kansas City 47-yard line. Pittsburgh leading 7-0, and Stewart going to the air and throws, and it is not caught. Yancey Thigpen had it for the moment, couldn't retain possession. Thigpen coming off a fabulous outing last week against Jacksonville when he caught 11 balls for over 190 yards.
Well, the past couple of games, the week before that, he had 6 for 120 against Cincinnati. And James Hasty, though, is having a terrific year. Been around a little bit. He's got 10 years in now, former Jet, but he is having a terrific year here in Kansas City.
2nd and 10 now. Stewart is 1 for 4, but that one was the touchdown pass. They take it to the bus, and then Stewart throws and finds the open man on the sideline. That's Yancey Thigpen making the catch.
And I think that spot's going to be good enough for a first down.
Hasty's been locking up with Yancey Thigpen all over the field, and that was a little duel between the two of them. And it was Kordell just waiting until Thigpen uncovered.
Frank, you put Kordell in movement like that, and you are really in a quandary as a defender. If you challenge him one-on-one up the field, there's Charles Johnson who's sitting this one out. You know, you run the risk of an even bigger play than just floating and giving them that time.
First down at the 36. Johnson should be back from his knee injury next week. Bettis gets the ball, swings to the outside. Carter can't corral him, and he picks up a first down. Carter had every opportunity, but what do you do when a guy's 250?
Well, you got to do more than that.
You misjudged his speed for one.
Lynn Swann, what you got, Lynn?
Well, Al, you know, I talked to Kordell Stewart about his first half play versus his second half play, and he said, you know, it's several things. It's not being relaxed immediately, not knowing how the defense is playing me, not holding how the guys are going to rush me. So he says in the second half, he just feels more comfortable. He knows more. But the one thing he said he had to accomplish tonight was to make sure against Kansas City he didn't have the disastrous first half, Al.
All right, Lynn. Bill Cowher went to him before the game, and he said, just pretend we're starting in the third quarter. Here's Bettis inside the 20. 9-yard gain out at the 15 behind a Will Wolford block.
Well, right now, Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs, better get the message into that Kansas City defensive huddle that somebody out there better think about hitting somebody in a Pittsburgh uniform. Because right now, all the heavy shots are being delivered by the Steelers. Just like at the conclusion of this play, it's Bettis that runs over Jerome Woods. And it is not the other way around. Somebody from Kansas City better stand up and do it quickly.
Bettis already 61 yards in the quarter, which is less than 13 minutes old, and trying to add some more and gets enough for what should be the first down as he's inside the 15 to the 13. Jerome, like all of the Steelers, loves Monday night. Last year, as you can see, 133 yards against the Bills, 103 against the Chiefs, 119 against Miami, and then this year 114 against Jacksonville.
And you see that Earl Campbell has the record with 5 consecutive 100-yard games, and Jerome Bettis looks like he's on his way to tie that if he doesn't get hurt.
He's playing with a very sore left hand that has maybe contributed to a couple of fumbles recently for him. He can only carry the ball in his right hand.
But Kansas City's tackling better get better.
First down from the 13-yard line. Stewart, good protection, throws high, incomplete, intended for Courtney Hawkins, who caught the touchdown pass earlier. 2nd and 10.
Down around this area is where Kordell Stewart, his versatility really comes in. He scored 7 touchdowns running the football. He gets down here and he goes back into a passing situation, spreads out the field, and he is just liable not to take it in. Donnell Wilford, who came up with the interception, former #1 pick of the Bears, who has really helped Pittsburgh this year at that left corner position.
2nd and 10. Meanwhile, Derek Thomas is now out of the lineup for Kansas City. Pella McDaniels is in there, and you've got Bettis to the 9. So the Chief defense being shredded in effect on this drive and in this first quarter. Now minus Thomas back on the bench. Derek's been in and out, and there's Thomas, who, because of a torn tricep, missed the first several weeks of the season.
He plays that Falcon position. It's the weak side linebacker in a pass rushing situation like this. Derek Thomas goes to defensive end. He's by far and away their best pass rusher. He's not there.
Well, the defense was designed for him, and he's not been in there for 2 games this season.
3rd and 6. The Steelers, as you saw, very proficient in the red zone. And Stewart lofts one. Hasty had his hands on Thigpen, who looks around for a flag, doesn't find one. Incomplete. 4th down. Yancey saying, where was the flag?
Well, they were locked up pretty good, far beyond the 5 yards in which you're allowed to make that contact. Right there's contact. And Kordell Stewart was not going to throw the interception. Not going to have what Lynn said that he said a disastrous first half if he can avoid it.
And the official saying that Hasty had the position. It was up to Thigpen to fight his way through it. He couldn't. No flag.
28-yard field goal attempt by Norm Johnson.
It's away.
Mike Tomczak holds it, and the kick is good. So they cash in for 3 with 32 ticks left. 27 yards officially for Norm Johnson. And Kordell Stewart right now has begun the game 2 out of 7 for 55 yards and a touchdown. And Jerome Bettis having a big quarter with 68 yards on 10 carries. Next Monday, and our schedule is great, the balance of the season, we go to Philadelphia. The 49ers, who have reeled off 8 consecutive victories, including their win yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys, go to Veterans Stadium to take on the Eagles. San Francisco against Philadelphia. And later on this season, in case you haven't looked at the Monday night schedule, on December 15th, Denver at San Francisco, and what is shaping up as maybe the game of the year.
In a game that, unbelievably, Jerry Rice has targeted to make a comeback from the knee surgery that he had after the injury in their opening day loss to Tampa Bay. Jerry Rice has targeted that game as a date that he's going to try to make a comeback. That's
truly amazing.
That almost defies belief. But then again, so does Jerry Rice in so many ways.
The next Monday night, you can almost say that's a last stand for Ray Rhodes and the Eagles. They're 4-5, and they're going to have to win that game, and that is going to be a war next Monday night in Philadelphia.
Huge game for the Eagles. The Niners will try to make it 9 straight. Steve Young and company on Monday Night Football. 10-0 Pittsburgh as Johnson kicks off. Bat over from the 9-yard line. And run down at the 23. Good coverage led by Dante Jones. So Grbac and the offense coming back in. And let's take a look at tonight's the Home Depot coaches fact. Marty Schottenheimer, 13 seasons as an NFL head coach, began in Cleveland, came here in '89, 0 seasons, none with a losing record. That's the most seasons as a head coach in the history of this league among coaches who've never had a losing season. And there he is, Marty Schottenheimer, who took over at Cleveland in the middle of the '84 campaign.
And 1997, you can almost certainly add to that list.
Here is Marcus Allen, granddaddy, on his first carry of the night, out to the 26-yard line. Some talk about, well, will this be Marcus's last year? He indicated it might when the season began, but I'm not so sure right now.
Well,
Neither is he.
Over the years, he's put up some incredible numbers, and on Monday Night Football, some remarkable ones.
Into the first quarter, and we'll return with Monday Night Football after this message and a word for ABC stations. The son of Art Rooney, the family has owned the Pittsburgh Steelers since day one. Looking on tonight, and a lot on that man's mind as we start the second quarter. 2nd down and 8 for Kansas City, and Grbac retreats and throws a screen. That's taken by Kimball Anders up to the 30. Dan Rooney tomorrow, of course, will look on and watch as 11 counties in western Pennsylvania vote on a referendum whether to fund a variety of economic development projects, including 2 stadiums, one for the Steelers and one for the Pirates, through a 0.5% increase of the sales tax over the next 7 years. Now, he needs that to pass to get the stadium to, as he puts it, keep this team competitive in the current day economic situation in the National Football League. 3rd down and 2 from the 31-yard line. And it's Andre Rison making the catch before he steps out of bounds. Enough for a first down.
It's far more than just a stadium. It's an expansion of the convention area and other civic projects. That's maybe got lost in all the rhetoric that's taken place, but it's quite important to the Pittsburgh Steelers, no question about that, and quite important to the Pittsburgh, the city itself. Steelers themselves have been, over the years, 4 Super Bowls they've won there, and it's almost a necessary, well, it's a necessary item right now if you're going to be in this game of professional football.
On 1st down, good fake, and then it's caught by Anders, and Anders goes down hard, tripped up by Earl Holmes. Good open field tackle. And Holmes slow in a rising with the ball at the 43-yard line after a gain of 6.
Continue to look at Anders. He started to get up, and he has been the most productive of these Chiefs. Tries to hurdle. Donnell Wolford comes down on that right shoulder, and he's in pain.
Bradshaw's pass deflects off Oakland's Jack Tatum and is caught by Franco Harris to win the game for the Steelers. The play is known as the Immaculate Reception. But what is the name of this man guiding Harris to the end zone? None other than assistant team physician Warren Finkelstein.
Like I've been telling you,
Anders, they're taking a look at him as he leaves the field under his own power. And in the backfield right now, Marcus Allen and Donnell Bennett are the split backs on 2nd down and 3. And they give it to Marcus. And Marcus into Pittsburgh territory. 37 years old? You got to be kidding.
Yeah, I think he ought to quit.
Senior citizen puts on a show.
Let's conduct a poll here at Arrowhead Stadium and ask how many Chiefs fans think that Marcus Allen ought to retire at the end of this season. And there's a guy whose vote really counts, and I think he'd like him to stay. What a heady piece of running. About 4 different cuts, but always staying in the middle of the field.
Well, he never had the great speed. He knows he's not going to outrun 37 there. He breaks it back inside. He's always been a heady runner because he's never had that great sprinter speed.
Boy, did he get some outstanding blocking at the point of attack by Grunhard and Shields, Parker, Zott, and Criswell. And for a defensive team that doesn't give up a lot of big plays on the ground, the Chiefs right now have to be a little buoyed with how well they are running the ball against the Steelers, the 2nd best run defense in the NFL.
Coming into the weekend, and after yesterday's results, they moved to number 1.
So only 66 yards a game is this unit giving up. And right now, Kansas City has to feel pretty good about how they're moving it.
Allen, his longest run this season had been 11 yards. That one was good for 30. And they fake it to him, and they give it to Vanover on an end around. And and Tamarick takes it to the 20-yard line. That's a gain of 7. He's stopped there by Jason Gilden.
Paul Hackett, the offensive coordinator, trying to go for the home run there with getting the ball around the corner, and you can hardly blame him for trying to get it into the hands of Vanover, who's not really an accomplished receiver and who doesn't really play a big part in Kansas City's passing game, but we all know of his prowess as a return man, and why not get him the football any way you can?
Second and a short 4 with Thompson in motion. Bennett in the backfield, and Donnell Bennett picks up 2, takes it to the 18-yard line, setting up 3rd and 2, tackled there by Levon Kirkland.
Well, this is what Levon Kirkland brings to the inside. Not just a great size, but such an awareness of his reads. Look at him stay at home, a little cut to the right, but then look at the way he squares up, gets underneath the pads of the running back, and wraps up both legs. A textbook tackle.
That's 275 pounds of linebacker, and he can really move with it.
He's light on his feet for such a big man.
3rd and 2, they've got Allen in the eye, running out of the same formation he used to run out of at USC, taking it close to a first down. You can see as we widen out how close he is. Ed Hockley lining up a look. And he'll bring in the change.
An interesting call for Marty here. If they don't have the first down, be about a 33, 34-yard field goal for Stojanovic, who's having an awfully good year, 14 of 16 so far.
And you'll have to be thinking, too, if we go for it, we're going against the #1 defense in the league against the rush.
And the Chiefs this year are 0 for 4 on 4th down, if that becomes their choice. But
he won't have to think about it.
It's academic. First down.
Point. You think he would have kicked it? I think Marty would like to get on the board.
Tough. You know, you have Marcus Allen there, and he's almost automatic in that situation.
But they're stout. As Frank said, they're stout. Well, maybe we'll find out in 3 plays.
4 wides for Kansas City. They're looking for single coverage, trying to get it on Andre Rison. This is one way to do it.
One of those wide outs is Greg Hill. Split to the left. Grbac setting up a backside screen. And this is Tony Gonzalez, who's their #1 draft choice out of the University of California. And that play needs to be reconstructed. Loss of 3.
I think you're right on, Al. That fooled nobody on the white side of the ball. The Steelers in their white jerseys tonight and their black helmets, they were all over it.
Well, one guy didn't fool Greg Lloyd. He was all over it, and the Chiefs, I think, very fortunate that that's all the more they lost. Pretty good effort by Gonzalez to fight and pick up, at least save a couple yards.
Bennett now on 2nd and 13 only picks up a couple, so they probe the middle on 2nd and long, and that provokes a chorus of boos from the proletariat, and it will be 3rd down and 11.
And Elvis being very active tonight. He quickly started waving his arms for the crowd to quiet down. That he didn't want to hear any of that.
It's Elvis Grbac day here in Kansas City. He's only been here for what? This is his 9th game. And he's already got a day. That's better than red buttons. He didn't even get a dinner.
3rd and 11. They've got Marcus Allen split wide to the right.
You get a lot of perks when your name's Elvis.
And Grbac going for the end zone and throws it out of bounds. Andre Rison, the nearest man, so they bog down. And on 4th down, with Chad Scott covering on the play, in comes Stojanovic.
Oh, and he took Andre Rison right out of that play. Good coverage by Chad Scott, their #1 draft pick, who's been struggling with an ankle injury, but he provided great coverage there, and that ball basically just thrown away by Grbac.
This will be a 35-yard attempt. Aggie-yard to hold. Stojanovic, the longtime Dolphin, came over last year. 35-yard attempt. Gone. And Stoyanovic's pick is right down Broadway. Or I-70, your preference. 9:13 to go in the half at Arrowhead. Pittsburgh 10, Kansas City 3. cool night in Kansas City as the Kansas City Chiefs have just gotten on the board. Glenn Parker, the longtime Buffalo Bill tackle, now playing the right side here. And his offense getting on the board for 3. 10-3 is the score as Pete Stoyanovich kicks off. Curtis Marsh and Andre Coleman back to receive for the Steelers. And a flag is down as Kansas City was offside on the kickoff.
Way offside.
It is taken by Andre Coleman. And he brings it back out to the 26-yard line.
That wasn't even close. Mike Stock, the special teams coach, won't be too thrilled about that. That's a major gaffe.
And he's not yelling at the officials.
No, I don't know that there are more glaring and correctable mistakes than being offsides on a kickoff.
By the kicking team, number 55. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Troy Dumas.
It was a team effort, though. There was more than just one. They were in concert.
Dumas part of the 3 Musketeers. I think you're right, Frank. I think there were at least 3 of them that came across the line.
Well, all for one, one for all.
Yes. At least.
You may well ask, how does that happen? You should perhaps ask Stoyanovich.
So Stoyo will tee this one up now at the 25-yard line.
If he gives them a misstep or a bad beat, well, then they're going to be offsides.
When in doubt, blame the kicker, right?
Yeah, well, they're easy to blame.
This time clearly onside. Kick comes down, hold in Coleman from the 10-yard line. And Andre gets wrestled down at the 29 by Dana Hughes. And let's go down to Lynn Swan. Lynn.
Thank you, Al. I'm with the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dan Rooney. And Dan, they've been talking about the referendum, the votes tomorrow. What can you gather from the people who've been working on this, what the outcome might be?
Well, we were way behind on Labor Day, but it's been really going well since, and with all the volunteers we have a good chance. I think it's going to be close, but we have a good chance to get it in some of the counties.
They've been talking about the stadium issues. What happens if this does not pass to the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, it would be really a tough thing for our team if it doesn't pass. It's most important for us to get even with the other teams in our division. By the year 2000, every team in the in our conference, in our division, will have a new stadium. And we really need, if we're going to compete with them and be on an equal footing, we have to get a new stadium.
They're talking about the referendum. It's a 0.5% in terms of a sales tax that they're going to apply, but not all of that money would go to a stadium, to baseball or football, would it?
No, in the outer line counties, 75% of it stays in those counties for other projects. That's why it's so important for our region to get something like this.
Well, Dan, we wish you well. We'll go back up to Al.
All right, thank you, Lynn. After Bettis gains 3 on 2nd and 7, that is caught by Tim Lester, the blocking back, out of the backfield for a gain of about 4, setting up a 3rd down and 3 at the 35.
Well, I think it's a safe assumption that we know how Swanee is going to vote. Still a resident of the Pittsburgh area. So.
One of the great contributors to those Super Bowl efforts the Steelers had in the past. A lot of people don't understand. They think all revenue is shared equally by the National Football League team. That's not true. The revenue is generated from the stadium, and you need that money today to compete for players and to stay even with other teams. You need the money that comes from the stadium itself.
Bill Cowher here. Bill Cowher made an impassioned plea, in fact, last week. 3rd down and 2 from the 35. And it's caught by Hawkins and then dropped. It's a loose and free football. And what are they going to say? The head linesman is going to keep the ball in Pittsburgh's possession after indicating it was a caught ball and a loose ball.
And he might have stepped out of bounds before he fumbled the ball.
The ball was fumbled on the play. It was recovered by a Kansas City player who was out of bounds at the time. Right. Therefore, the ball's out of bounds. Pittsburgh ball, 4th down.
Boy, that's the same rule as a kickoff. If you're out of bounds, that means the ball is out of bounds. Anthony Davis looks from that angle like he's got the ball and he's in bounds. And the crowd that's just looking at the same angle that we just saw.
And they may overrun the officials.
It initially looked like Davis's leg was going to be out of bounds, but his legs were in the air. And the torso, his body, was in the playing field when he had the football.
So it's now 4th down, forcing the Steelers to punt. Josh Miller sets up at his 15. Tamarack Vanover back to receive it. It's a short kick that goes out of bounds near the 37-yard line. They'll line it up, and KC will take over at the 35. 7:17 to the half. It's Pittsburgh by 7.
Let's this out. Here's another look at what the official is looking. Watch Anthony Davis when he comes sliding in. From this angle, it looks like his left knee is very close to that sideline, if not on the paint, and the official is right there. You have to give him credit. He's right there. He waves it off. In his mind, Davis's left knee was out of bounds.
Now Kansas City from the 35. Grbac off to the races he goes, slides through a hole, picks up a first down, a gain of 12. First down, Kansas City. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Visa, the official card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be. And HBO, it's not TV, it's HBO. Kansas City on a sparkling early November night. Wind was really kicking up today, but it has calmed down tonight. Temperature in the upper 30s. And per usual, a packed house. First down from the 46-yard line. And it's Bennett seeing more and more action. And Donnell picks up 3 to the 49ers. Fourth year back out of Miami.
Well, offensively for Kansas City, you would think they would be able to get their ball to their tight ends a little more often than they have tried thus far this evening. They're getting double coverage on the outside on Andrew Rison and single coverage on Dawson. That's the primary coverage for the Steelers. Try to get Rison out of the game, and that should open up your tight end, Ted Popson or Tony Gonzalez, two fine receivers.
Second down and 6. This is Kimball Andrews picking up 4 to the 46-yard line.
And Kansas City is doing the unthinkable if you're a Steeler fan, and that is running the football against the #1 defense against the run in the league.
Well, and the other thing Marty wants to accomplish is the Steelers have a time of possession advantage of over 3 minutes in the teams they play, and Marty wants to combat that by running the football. Marty, a huge believer in time of possession, field position, the old adages of football, and he knows even if we don't run for 150 yards, we want to at least have the clock on our side. Both teams running the ball very effectively. 6.9 for Pittsburgh, 5.8 for Kansas City.
Third down and 2, and the pass is caught by Ted Popson, and that is a first down at the 43-yard line. He's tackled by Chris Oldham. Chris Oldham takes care of Popson, a guy who was drafted in the last round as the last pick of the New York Giants in 1991. Didn't play a down in the league until 94.
Well, the Giants cut him twice. They cut him in 91, again in 92. He went to the World League. Came back and finally wound up in San Francisco and had a pretty good year with them last year when Brett Jones was hurt. 26 reception for them.
Now Marcus Allen in the game. He gets the football. And the Heisman Trophy winner from USC in the early 80s takes it to the 39. It's a gain of 4.
And Kansas City right now is operating behind their strength, which is their center and their 2 guards. Grunhard, Shields, and Zott. As you said, Al, these guys have started together, very durable. 4 years now, these guys haven't missed a game, and they are the strength of this offensive line. Criswell and Parker make the line outside on the tackles, but the heart of this group is that trio in the middle.
And they're going right against the strength of the Steeler defense.
Yep. This is an excellent matchup.
Steve, Kirkland, and Holmes.
4 minutes to the half, 2nd and 6. Deep drop by Grbac, slings it over the middle, tipped and incomplete. There were 4 Steelers there surrounding the one intended receiver as Myron Bell got a hand on it. Lake Dawson, the intended receiver.
Well, you hate to waste pass protection like that. Grbac had all the time to survey the field. Look at that. Look at the view he has of the passing lane. And yet he goes right to the congested area. Look at this look that he has down the football field. He's got Bell, he's got Kirkland.
He's lucky that wasn't picked off.
Third down 7 now from just inside the 40-yard line. And he slings it for a first down to the 27 into the arms of Lake Dawson. So he goes right back to Lake, and they pick up the first.
Good blitz pickup, too, on the part of the Kansas City Chiefs.
And a good job by Dawson. Good job by Dawson Frank in breaking off his pattern.
Exactly. He read with Grbac the blitz. Breaks it off right there. He has a single coverage because of the blitz. And Chad Scott laying off well, he had to lay off that far. Well, that's timing between the two.
And if you get man coverage, the guy you want to go after is Scott, their #1 draft choice this year.
From the 27-yard line. Grbac going to the end zone. Incomplete. Good double coverage on the play as he tried to jam it in, intended for Andre Rison, but Rison seeing a lot of double coverage these days. Bell and Perry in this particular case.
The Rams took him almost out of the game a week ago. They sometimes doubled him and occasionally tripled him, and I think he had 3 receptions for the day for about 33 yards, maybe 2 receptions. And that's exactly what the Steelers are trying to do, keep him out of the game.
Well, when in doubt, I think it's safe to say that the Steelers' safeties are going to go to the side of Andre Rison. When they make their break and they ISO on a receiver, if they have a choice, they're going to go to Rison's side. And this, a Kansas City timeout, as Grbac was running out of time on the play clock.
3:07 to the half in Kansas City. Pittsburgh 10, Kansas City 3. We're back in Kansas City, and the game living up to billing. Each team 6-2, and looking for, I guess, along with Denver, at least in the perception of the public, the top team in the American Football Conference, along with the Broncos.
And I think that what Denver had going for them at the start of the season was a known quantity at quarterback in John Elway. Nobody knew how effective Grbac or Stewart was going to be with these two clubs.
It's gone. Second down and 10, going for the end zone, and a little too deep and a little too outside, intended for Andre Rison, who is covered by Donnell Wolford.
Covered well by Donnell Wolford. He took him right out of it. Grbac had to throw that out. Donnell Wolford, he kind of struggled last year with the Bears, but he was the #1 pick for them back in 1989. He's got 35 career interceptions. Good man covering. He's good. And he gives you a chance over on the other side. The Steelers, of course, have been trouble over there with the injury to Chad Scott. Parnell Lake working the other cornerback.
Now on third down and 10, quickly over the middle, and it was deflected as he tried to jam it into Tony Gonzalez, the tight end. So it's 4th down, and in comes Stoyanovich to attempt what will be about a 45-yard field goal.
One thing about Donnell Wolford, I don't think he's sorry he's not in Chicago.
You think not? Poor babies, they've struggled. But he does. You can leave him locked up pretty much on anyone in this league and help your other cornerback. Donnell Wolford.
This will be a 44-yard attempt. Ralph Tam will snap it. Louis Aguiar will set it down at the 34.
Gone.
And the kick is good. 2 Stoyanovich field goals have cut a 10-0 lead by Pittsburgh to a 10-6 deficit now for the Kansas City Chiefs with 2:54 to go in the opening half.
One thing Kansas City's doing, and Dan talked about it earlier, they have kept the Pittsburgh Steelers offense pretty much off the field here in the second quarter. They've been playing the possession game. They've been playing it well.
No, it's territory that Marty Schottenheimer is very comfortable in finding himself in, and that is a close ball game, a game where you don't want to make turnovers, a game where you stay within striking distance. Get me into the second half where I count on my team's discipline and their preparation coming through.
Tomorrow night, Soul Man Over the Top, Home Improvement, Hiller and Diller, and NYPD Blue comprise the primetime lineup, followed by Spin City, Dharma and Greg the Drew Carey Show, Ellen, and Primetime Live Wednesday night in primetime on ABC. And our primetime presentation next Monday from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, the red-hot 49ers, who won 8 straight. And we'll talk to Steve Young at the half taking on the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football, a week from tonight.
Ray Rhodes is not looking forward to that. Former 49er player, defensive coordinator, knowing he desperately needs this game. You think those Eagles won't be high? No.
Pete Stoyanovich just booted the 44-yard field goal, floats this one down into the arms of Andre Coleman at the 9-yard line. Coleman gets bounced down at the 29-yard line. So Kordell Stewart ready to come in. Chan Gailey is the Steelers offensive coordinator. And we can tell you that coming up at the half on the Lexus Halftime Report, Chris Berman comes along from New York with highlights of yesterday's action, and then Steve Young will join us from the Bay Area talking about the 49ers and their 8-game winning streak. From the 29-yard line, Stewart on first down. It's gone! Has it intercepted? Jerome Woods back across the 50 and into Pittsburgh territory, intended for Yancey Thigpen and well overthrown.
And a poor selection, too, of Yancey Thigpen. They were doubling him up, free safety, Jerome Woods taking him deep, covering underneath with Dale Carter. And Kordell Stewart threw it right into the hands of Jerome Woods.
Frank, I'm not sure Kordell Stewart even looked at anybody else other than Thigpen. He locks in on him all the way. Look at Hasty underneath.
It's actually Hasty, not Dale Carter, but you're exactly right. Kordell Stewart thought it was man coverage, and he had help all the way.
He just locked in on Thigpen all the way, never even looked to the other side of the field. And, of course, at this stage of the ball game, a little over 2 minutes left in the half, Kansas City's going to play deep outside coverage.
Now they give it to Greg Hill on first down after the third interception of the season by Woods. There's a look at Jerome. Drafted last year along with Reggie Tongue, and the two are now starters, and Cowher and Stewart going over what went wrong.
The one thing about Kordell Stewart, though, you won't see this guy with his chin down. He has been in this situation before. We showed you the difference in his play between the first half and the second half. He's unshakable.
2nd and 6. And now it's Hill again to the 38. We come to the 2-minute warning. 3rd down and 3 when we come back to Kansas City, where Pittsburgh leads the Chiefs by 4.
Can you kill this person?
Yes.
The only way to stop an assassin is to trust a man who thinks like one.
Makes his move. We tighten our nose.
Richard Gere, Bruce Willis, Sidney Poitier, the Jackal.
Aerial footage tonight provided by Goodyear. Great shot looking down into Arrowhead Stadium. Al Michaels with Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf, and Lynn Swan. 2-minute warning for the first half. 10-6. The Steelers are on top, and we can also tell you Monday Night Football on the internet with drive charts and stats live from our game computers. Check it out at abcmnf.com.
Can't gain weight at our virtual tailgate.
No, sir.
Calorie free.
3rd down and 3 now. And it is caught for a first down by Tony Gonzalez, the rookie tight end from California, out of bounds at the 32-yard line to move the chain.
Well, this could be a future great one, too. Tony Gonzalez, their first-round draft pick. He played for Steve Mariucci out at the University of California in the quote West Coast offense, so it was pretty familiar trappings when he arrived here, and they expect big things of him. He's 6'4", 245 pounds, and he's learning every day.
Starter on the Cal basketball team.
Well, that's one of the things they love, his raw athleticism. He can jump, he can run, he's strong, he's the real deal.
From the 32-yard line, Grbac. A lot of room to roam, and he's off to the races. And out of bounds at the 15-yard line.
Well, he may be the leading rusher. Grbac, he was not considered a scrambling quarterback, and tonight he has put on quite a show. He's very heady. He knows where he is in the field, got great presence, won't try to force a pass. Had an interception earlier tonight. He had a lot of attempts before that one interception tonight. He's very careful with it.
When you come with a 3-man rush and you drop everybody back into the zone, if the 3-man rush gets outside of their lanes, a lot of room. And you see that, how already Kansas City over 100 yards, 115. They have tattooed the Steelers like they haven't been in quite a while.
Halfback pass by Allen for the touchdown to Danon Hughes.
Well, we haven't seen that for a long time in the entire league. And Allen, looking like he was going to sweep right, has done that many times, but not in recent years.
Taking advantage of a defense that flies to the football on a running play. Well executed. Great call by Paul Hackett.
And the unlikely receiver was Hughes. That was only his third reception of the year. Marcus had some ice on that one, lobbed it up there, was making sure.
Extra point is good. Marcus Allen has completed 11 passes in his career, 5 of them for touchdowns, but that's the first completion and touchdown pass for him since 1991 when he was wearing the silver and black.
Well, just look at the upfield. There's Myron Bell, the strong safety. He's all the way into Kansas City's backfield. Darren Perry, by the time he's able to react and he realizes it isn't a run, it's over.
The reason he has so many touchdowns per attempt, Al, is that if the receiver isn't open and wide open, he's going to pull the ball down and run with it.
Well, Keith Byers, another running back who's been in the NFL for a long time, extremely effective at running the halfback option. And Marcus, he knew it was there.
Danon Hughes with his first touchdown catch of the season and the third of his 5-year NFL career.
Pretty good looking first half for Marcus Allen at age 37.
All that following the Kordell Stewart interception. So Pittsburgh, a team that has been coming from behind all season, has all of a sudden watched a 10-0 Steeler lead dissolve. Greg Lloyd and Stewart look on, and their club now trails by 3 with 1:40 to go in the half. Stoyanovich kicking off to George Jones now, and Coleman, and it's a short kick taken in at the 17-yard line, and threading his way up to the 36 is Andre Coleman.
And still with 1 minute and 36 seconds left here in the half, Kordell Stewart has to be careful. Again, he cannot risk trying to force a football and making something happen.
A couple of timeouts for the Steelers.
Marcus Allen, I think tonight is what, his 215th football game. He's played more games in the National Football League than any other running back, and complete domination by Kansas City here in quarter number 2.
Steelers from the shotgun, 2 timeouts remaining, and they give it to George Jones on an inside handoff, and the rookie out of San Diego State is tackled by Jerome Woods out past the 45. And it is a first down.
And Will Wolford having trouble getting up.
5th-round draft pick out of San Diego State. Played at my junior college for a couple of years, Bakersfield Junior College, before he went to San Diego State.
But he has to gut it out to save him a timeout, and they just run right by him, and they run right by everybody on the sack by Dan Williams.
Will Wolford, they should have taken a timeout. He can't play.
He's leaving the field now.
Yeah, he can't play. He couldn't put any weight on it. He just is a spectator on that play. Tom Myslinski, he's got an abdominal strain. He's not supposed to play tonight. But you see Wolford just waves at Dan Williams.
And Jim Sweeney comes in to replace him, and they run that same inside give. A flag is down. This is George Jones to the 42-yard line.
And Myslinski with that ab strain right now with Wolford down, the Steelers are in trouble on their offensive line. They are real short of people.
Ed Hockley indicating the penalty is against Kansas City.
Derek Thomas trying to anticipate the count, came across too quickly. Bad sign there.
Offside by the defense, number 58. 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Derek Thomas.
They're examining the right knee of Will Wolford. One of the premier offensive linemen in football on the bottom of the screen. Derrick was almost right on that snap count. He was only offside by a hair.
Second down, 13 now. Kordell looking to get out of bounds and pays the price. James Hasty knocks him out as he crosses the 50-yard line. Short of the first down by 5 with 33 ticks left.
Well, there is an athlete at quarterback. Kordell Stewart just riding that tackle out of bounds, getting every yard he could out of it, putting himself into about a 3rd and 4 situation where he has to think about that with 33 seconds remaining.
But he still has the middle of the field at his disposal. The Steelers with a pair of timeouts. He can still use all the football field.
On 3rd down and 4. Stewart throws, and a sliding catch is not made by Courtney Hawkins. Hits the ground. It's 4th down.
The Steelers can't be thinking about going for it.
I would not think so. 27 seconds remaining.
No, they can't.
Steelers, Kansas City with a couple of timeouts. They've got to punt. I think they just weighed everything and then did the wise thing.
So Josh Miller to punt. And we've got a timeout called here by Kansas City. So they're now down to 1 as they get ready to get the ball back.
And I'm not sure Kansas City had enough people on the field or their full complement of the punt return team.
It was called by, that timeout was called by Vanover. So Schottenheimer going over things. And at the half, along with Chris Berman's halftime highlights from yesterday's games, we will be speaking with Steve Young. And there he is as he reclines in Palo Alto, California. Absolutely on cue, reclining.
Stay up, Steve.
And,
at least he's awake.
Yep. The man who we will see next Monday night in Philadelphia guiding the San Francisco 49ers, who've won 8 straight against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Al, you mentioned Vanover calls a timeout. It's the return man's responsibility to count his teammates out on the field. Obviously, he was 1 short.
Now Miller floats it into the end zone. And Vanover picked the ball up, but it was a touchback. Ruled a touchback with 14 seconds to go. Speaking of Josh Miller, and why not have an explosive effect lead to this? You'll recall the Monday night game in Jacksonville. But then last week, after 2 shanked punts, when the game was on the line and they needed a beauty, there was a 72-yarder that pinned Jacksonville deep enough so they could not win the game in regulation, and the Steelers won the flip in overtime. Jacksonville never saw the ball, and Pittsburgh won the game.
Good night tonight for Josh, averaging 46. Bill Cowher told us last night that it was his wife who gave him a hard time about being too hard on Josh in that Monday nighter we had, and Bill said, I promise I'll treat him a little better.
It's halftime in Kansas City. The Chiefs have come from behind to take a 13-10 lead over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we'll return after this message from the National Football League and a word from our ABC stations.
This is Barry Sanders Field, where he learned to run.
Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. One of the questions as we begin the second half is whether or not Will Walford can come back into the game. He was injured at the end of the first half. And the indications are that he will return. But he doesn't have to worry about it for a few minutes, conceivably, because Kansas City gets the football as Norm Johnson kicks off. And sends it down to the 11-yard line. Tamarick Vanover out past the 20. And ridden down at the 32-yard line by Steve Conley. So Pittsburgh took a 10-0 lead in the first half. The first touchdown of the game on this pass, the first completion of the night by Kordell Stewart. Courtney Hawkins with some sloppy tackling by the Chiefs gets into the end zone. And then Kansas City was able to counter and take the lead. Marcus Allen to Danon Hughes, the halfback pass, and the Chiefs lead it by a score of 13-10. Now Grbac on first down throws, and that's caught by Andre Rison, who's out of bounds after a gain of about 5. Over to the first half of play. A lot of offense, 149 yards for Pittsburgh and 200 for Kansas City.
And the big number of possession there in the bottom.
And the biggest number is 114 yards rushing by Kansas City against the #1 rushing defense in the NFL. I think that really surprises probably people on both sides of the football.
On second down and 5, the ball is given to Kimball Anders. And he's down before he loses the ball at the 39-yard line. Kansas City ball. It'll be third down and 3.
I think it might surprise Pittsburgh that they gave up that many yards to Kansas City. They've been averaged 66 yards per game allowed. And Kordell Stewart, we talked about his second half heroics. The Steelers have won their last 4 games after being down at least 7 points. And he has been sensational in the second half of those games.
Third and a long 2. The fake. Grbac can run, and here he goes again and slides to a hole. Picks up a first down at the 47-yard line.
Oh, did they take advantage of Greg Lloyd right there. What a nice piece of ball handling by Grbac. He sucked Lloyd all the way in.
Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Nissan. It reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. Sprint, where Monday nights are free and clear. And Budweiser, since 1876, the classic American lager. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf, Lynn Swan in Kansas City. Chiefs up by 3, going deep for Rison and incomplete. Blanketed by Donnell Wolford.
Rison trying to get a call against Wolford, but he does not get it.
Kind of a half-hearted attempt by Andre.
It was a good piece of coverage by Wolford.
I think Andre recognizes that as well.
One of the few times that Andre Reed has been in single coverage tonight, and Donnell Wolford was right there, using the sidelines as help. Maybe puts a hand in there, but certainly not any effect on Rison. The ball over zone as well.
I think Rison might have been acting a little bit right there. That was a little dramatic, that movement, just from being touched by the right hand of Wolford.
Second and 10. Grbac rolling, throwing on the run. Ooh, what a shot taken by Popson at the 45-yard line. Donnell Wolford lays him out.
Well, I think Earl Holmes had Popson around the legs.
He was in a very vulnerable position.
Oh, yeah. He could not defend himself at all. And Wolford just standing there with both feet planted. And this is Ted Popson. This is as hard a hit as a guy could take.
He took it right
to the helmet.
On the helmet. Ooh. Snapped that neck back too.
So they work on Popson, and we'll be right back.
You can hear the audio. Here again is the hit by Wolford on Popson. And again,
Popson in the arms of Earl Holmes and totally helpless.
This is most serious. Popson still down on the ground, and I think there's a great deal of collective concern and praying. You start with small things in a situation like that, and at least we see Ted Popson moving his legs.
Ted is a guy, we talked about him before, drafted in the last round by the Giants in '91 and released a couple of times and then found a home in San Francisco. But with Brent Jones, the primary tight end, he began to look elsewhere. And then the Niners drafted a tight end in the second round this year. And Kansas City said, we've got a spot for you. And he's done a tremendous job here this season.
I suspect that the training staff will be very cautious in taking Popson off the field. Looks like they're calling for the crew from the sideline. They'll again. This is.
If there's any concern whatsoever,
really,
they're going to immobilize Popson.
Err on the side
That's
of caution.
what I think we'll see. Bill Cowher, the Steelers coach, coming over to evaluate the situation.
They're rolling Ted over onto his back.
He's really been a big help this year to the rookie Tony Gonzalez, the #1 draft pick in Kansas City, a tight end, and he has been a big help.
Back in a moment.
ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, brought to you by the NASDAQ Stock Market. The NASDAQ Composite Index closed today at 1629.98, up 36.37 points.
Back in Kansas City, and the game has been halted for about 5 or 6 minutes at this point as they attend to Ted Popson.
Saw Jeff Criswell, number 69, giving a thumbs up sign.
There's Holmes, and he's in the grass of his home when Donnell Wolford hits him and catches his helmet right on his nose guard.
And remarkably,
and he held on to the football.
Yeah, that's what's amazing is he kept possession. And I hope that Jeff Criswell looked like he was flashing it up to maybe some people up in the stands. So, you know, hopefully that's some good news. This was just a couple moments ago during the timeout. Marty Schottenheimer talking to Bill Cowher, student, mentor.
And great friends.
Yes, and 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah, 2 guys from Western Pennsylvania. They're from the same area, and it was Marty who hired Bill, and Cowher spent 7 years as an assistant coach on his staffs at Cleveland and here. And we have a shot of Criswell, who had looked around, as Dan said, maybe to somebody in the stands, but we have to assume that's a great sign.
And all the rest of what's happening now is just a precaution, and we'll assume that.
Well, we
hopefully are right.
Yeah, we're looking for any good news that we can possibly glean from this situation, and we'll hope that Jeff Criswell is accurate.
Greg Lloyd discussing things with Dave Zott. And of course we will get, as soon as we possibly can, the information to you in regard to the condition of Ted Popson. We have college football coming your way this Saturday right here on ABC. The big battle is the one that takes place in Happy Valley in Central Pennsylvania as the Nittany Lions host Michigan in a huge game with major Rose Bowl ramifications.
And then Nebraska goes about 125 miles east of here, right on I-70, and they take on the University of Missouri. Larry Smith, amazingly, has that program at 6-3. It's been a long time since they've had a winning season at Mizzou.
Larry's old school, USC, hosting Stanford, and
That's
Georgia
Tech
a big one. Takes on Virginia. And then ESPN will have the Florida State North Carolina game at 7:30 Eastern time. So you've got all of the top teams in the country appearing on what they're calling Judgment Day in college football.
I'm actually going to the Missouri-Nebraska game, and I'm going to take my little television so I can watch Penn State and my alma mater. That ought to be a happening weekend.
They've actually the stretcher, and he has been immobilized. It's an inflatable kind of a device that will immobilize the upper part of the body. It looks as though that's where they have placed it. And we'll get a report as quickly as we can, but the indication that we got from a couple of the players, they gave the thumbs up sign, and we hope that that is a good indication and an accurate one.
So we will get the report on Ted Popson now as the game is going to resume. The situation is this. It is a 3rd down and 2 for the Kansas City Chiefs at the Pittsburgh 45-yard line, with Kansas City leading 13-10 early in the 3rd quarter. And on 3rd and a deuce, they give it to Vanover on an end around. Tamarick, always dangerous, has a 1st down, taking it to the 35-yard line. Tackled by Kevin Henry.
And that is a big-time blocking on that one, boy.
And that's a smart call by Paul Hackett after a lengthy timeout like that to run some type of a misdirection, because you know that the defense is not going to be as focused as they possibly could be after almost a 10-minute layoff. That's a very smart call.
Steve Conlon was just wiped out by Will Shields, the pulling guard.
10-yard gain in the 1st down for the Chiefs at the Steeler 35-yard line. Grbac buys time with a fake. Wide open is Gonzalez, and the tight end with a 1st down to the 13-yard line. So in the absence of Popson, as they wheel him up the runway, the kid out of California at the age of 21, their #1 draft choice, is going to have to see a lot more action.
Well, he made a move, just a simple one, right downfield. We'll follow him down right there. The coverage was Myron Bell, the strong safety, but he broke away from that coverage, got a little space, and Grbac was right there with the ball.
And you saw something right there, that even though the guy is 245 pounds,
he can run.
Bell was not able to close on him. That's the type of speed that Gonzalez has, the athleticism that we talked about. Myron Bell spotted him a couple yards and was not able to close the distance.
The game clock should read 11:47.
So they're going to run off another 10 seconds. And KC will have a 1st down at the, you're welcome, at the 12-yard line.
Well, you didn't reset the clock.
Well,
what are you saying?
I'm just, you know, I'm Pavlov's dog. Somebody says, thank you, I say, you're welcome.
Your mom would be so proud.
Oh, she would be. At the 12-yard line, Greg Hill picks up a couple, taking it to the 10. Earl Holmes in on the stop.
Chiefs once again working on the clock, content to pound it out. Very effective running game in the 1st half, 114 yards against the #1 defensive team in the National Football League against the rush.
And look how Elvis Grbac completes passes in the red zone, 67%.
That goes with this offense.
And he completes one here, and that is into the arms of Derek Walker, yet another tight end, #3 on the depth chart, tackled by Myron Bell at the 4-yard line, but he's shy of the 1st down by a yard and a half.
Well, he's slow getting up. This type of offense, West Coast offense, you get a high percentage stuff, and it's almost like running the football. Throwing it into the flat, throwing it underneath the coverage. Well, you get some high percentage numbers.
But there's a lot of variables on every snap of the football, and everybody's got to be moving at the same place at the same time.
3rd down, short 2 out of the eye. Marcus Allen. He has to get to the 2.5.
Well, he didn't.
Earl Holmes stops him.
He picked up that 1st yard just fine, but that 2nd one, he was repelled.
So it's going to be 4th down.
Well, Marty.
It's an interesting call. Again, keep in mind the Steelers, #1 ranked against the rush. Do you go for it, or do you take the sure 3 points? Marcus is the best in the history of the National Football League in picking it up. But what a time for play action.
4th and 1. And they give it to Allen. And that's why he's the best, but he loses the football. He got it. He had the 1st down, loses the football.
Well, they're digging after it. They're ruling this a fumble.
Every Steeler naturally contends it's their ball, but we've yet to see a striped shirt indicate who has it.
He came close to the 1st down, then he tried to spin back to the inside, and that's where he lost it.
Grbac says we've got it.
Well, no official said anything yet.
Grbac.
But even if they have possession, do they have it good enough for a 1st down?
Kansas City has recovered the ball.
But did they get the 1st?
So Kansas City has recovered. Now the question is where?
It's a fumble on 4th down. Doesn't Marcus have to recover the football? Right there, you can see the ball initially is held by Darren Perry. Darren Perry had that ball to start with.
They're going to spot it. Well, very close to a first. I mean, they're going to have to bring the chains in.
The ball was fumbled on 4th down. However, it went backwards, so the ball is dead at the spot of recovery. It is Kansas City's ball.
If it's fumbled forward, only Marcus Allen can recover. When it goes backwards, is Mark. We're at the
That's a heck of a determination whether the ball went forward or backwards. That's not easily done.
Well, they might have lost the first down, though.
And he lost the first down. And so the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've done this 2 weeks in a row. Last week, they did it to Jacksonville, and it turned the game around because they then went the length of the field, 98 yards.
The man that made the big play a week ago was Greg Lloyd.
And a week ago, we saw Green Bay do it to New England.
And go 99 yards. And that turned that game around.
Sure did.
So it's 13-10, and after the goal line stand of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the crowd roaring to jam the signals, Stewart from the 2. Bettis gives them breathing room. Out to the 6.
Boy, we haven't given Bettis a call in a long time.
Well, you had halftime, you had the Kansas City possession, you had the lengthy timeout because of the injury to Popson. And you're right, the Steelers did nothing offensively in the second quarter. It has been a long time since the Steelers have tried to establish a running game.
2nd and 6 from the 7. 9 minutes to go, third quarter. Chiefs lead by 3. The bus again. And Jerome is able to angle his way close to a first down. Reggie Tongue with this tackle. Mild head trauma is the initial report on Popson. Soreness in his neck. Taken off as a precaution is the word we're getting from downstairs. And that's a good report to get initially.
You like the use of the word mild.
Yes.
Yeah, we will continue to follow that, too.
That was a nifty piece of running by Bettis to get it down to a 3rd and 2. This could have been a 3rd and 5 or 6.
Out of the shotgun. Inside handoff. Great call. George Jones up to the 15-yard line. The rookie from San Diego State.
Great call because it was a blitz and they had the draw blocking on and they picked it up beautifully.
Hey, how complete a player is George Jones? Normally, Chan Gailey and any other offensive coordinator gets a rookie out of the game on 3rd down because of the complexities of playing in a spread offense on 3rd down. George Jones is their 3rd down back as a rookie. That takes a lot of heads-up, smart football.
And Will Wolford in the game. In fact, a good block on that last play to help spring him at left guard. Stewart flushed out. A trio of Chiefs had him in a triangle, and the pass to Bettis is complete, but for a loss, and a flag is down.
Be a personal foul.
Ooh, we got roughing the passer against Kansas City
after the ball was thrown.
You can't launch yourself at the quarterback.
Personal foul, roughing the passer by the defense, number 58. The penalties enforced in the previous spot, automatic first down.
Well, the helmet to the chops, too.
Well, Derek Thomas, watch him leave his feet and go right into the face. And again, it's the leading with the helmet. If Ed Hockley, as the referee, decides that Derek Thomas could have pulled up, he'll call roughing the passer because of the hit with the helmet.
First down now at the 30. The Steelers have been terrific this season at long drives. In fact, they've scored 8 times on drives that have begun at or inside their 20. They have the best rate in the league. From the 30-yard line, Lester makes the catch, and it's a 4-yard game, and he's tackled by Anthony Davis. And this is what they did, as we mentioned last week. They stopped Jacksonville. They stopped Jacksonville in a very similar situation where the Jaguars had the lead, could have kicked the field goal, and Gunther Cunningham looking on right now to try to stop Pittsburgh in their own territory. But then Pittsburgh turned it around against the Jaguars and wound up winning the game. Second down 5 now from the 35. Bettis swinging to the outside. And gets taken down by Jerome Woods. Got enough of them to knock him down. Shy of the first down by a couple. Third down upcoming.
He is really difficult to arm tackle. We've watched it all night long. And he runs really well for a big back, east and west. I mean, sideline to sideline. Ordinarily, a big man like this, if he doesn't turn it upfield, he has a tough time of it. But he can take it to the outside. He's very nifty, very good feet. And the little man is just not going to bring him down. Here he swings to the outside. And he's shredding tackles.
Third and a deuce. They have Fred McAfee in the backfield and 4 wideouts. Hawkins in motion. And they give it to McAfee. And he gets pinballed down after a gain of only 1. Anthony Davis makes the tackle. So 4 wideouts. They take Bettis out. They go to McAfee in the backfield. His first carry of the night. They don't get the first down. Curious call.
I wouldn't be surprised they'd like to rethink that one. You got Bettis on a pretty good roll, and you give it to McAfee.
Now Josh Miller to kick. Vanover back to receive. And the left footer sends one down to Vanover. Pulls it in at the 14 and tackled immediately by the rookie Chad Scott, their #1 draft choice, the cornerback out of Maryland. Great coverage right there. Pinning the Chiefs deep. 5:07 left in the third. Kansas City up by 3.
Once a single library held the knowledge of the world.
Back brought to you by Prudential. The Steelers have now won 4 straight games after trailing by 7 or more points in each game. And that ties the NFL record last accomplished by the Bears 6 years ago. Tonight, the Steelers have gone the other way. They had a 10-point lead, and now they have a 3-point deficit.
Well, if it wasn't for that fumble by Marcus Allen, they could have had that opportunity.
Grbac on first down throws off the fingertips of Kimball Anders. One other story we should touch on, the Steelers, Greg Lloyd, you've been reading about it this week. He delivered a blow to Keenan McCardell, the wide receiver from Jacksonville, on the first play of the game, stunning McCardell, knocking him out of the game for a couple of plays. The league is looking into it. In fact, the commissioner, Paul Tagliabue, is looking into it and is expected to rule on it in a day or so. But there was a situation where Lloyd had said McCardell had called his home and left the message, and McCardell, of course, denies ever having done that as Greg Hill takes it up to the 15-yard line.
In Lloyd's defense, it was a perfectly legal hit in the field of play. It just happened to be away from the football, but it was a legal hit. He wasn't penalized at the time. He just saw a shot and took it. You can argue that on both sides of it pretty comfortably.
There was a threatening message left on the machine, and Lloyd was angry because his family heard it. And I asked Lloyd before the game if he thinks McCardell is still the guy who left the message. He says, I don't know. Meanwhile, Gonzalez makes a fabulous catch up at the 44-yard line for a first down over Levon Kirkland. Great play. And that's a basketball guy for you.
Well, Levon Kirkland is not the guy you want covering a speedy Tony Gonzalez, the tight end.
But how can
Levon Kirkland is back there at 275 pounds, providing at least the underneath coverage.
But look how well he's on him, Frank. This is a superior catch. Kirkland is all over it.
Up for the rebound.
Yes.
Well, it's not that Levon Kirkland is used to working in that area downfield.
I think that's
he got down there, but I mean
pretty good coverage by Kirkland. I give all the credit in the world there to Gonzalez.
From the 44-yard line, Hill, a gain of 3.
That was special there by the rookie.
We mentioned he was a starter on the Cal basketball team, and there's a guy. I mean, you can tell this guy knew how to rebound.
That was a. Does that make him a PTPer, a primetime player?
He was coached by Steve Mariucci last year at California. Steve Young called him the Mooch. 2nd down and 7. Grbac on the run, throws, and that's a nice catch by Kimball Anders for a 1st down at the Pittsburgh 44.
That's more than that. That's a great catch. Kimball Anders, who was leading receiver a year ago, very versatile out of the backfield. That ball was thrown beneath him and behind him, and he was still able to come up with it. And not a bad effort by Grbac just to even get it here. Look at this.
Ooh.
And he knows he's going to take a shot, so he covers up the football and gets the 1st down.
Good stuff, huh?
Real good stuff.
2.5 to go in the 3rd. No scoring in the 3rd quarter. KC up by 3. 1st down. Anders cuts it back. Fumble. Loses the football. Kirkland at the bottom of the pile. He has it. Pittsburgh ball.
Well, all of a sudden, the Chiefs running backs being very generous in spitting the ball over to the Steelers.
Kimball Anders losing the football. Levon Kirkland recovering for Pittsburgh. He rests, and the offense takes over. Kordell Stewart under center. 1st down from the 42-yard line. Late in the 3rd quarter. Bettis swings to the outside and gets hog-tied at the 47, and there's a marker down. It's holding Pittsburgh.
Blitz was on by Kansas City, and they were coming from everywhere, and somebody came up with the hold.
There was a hog tie, and then there was another hog.
Holding by the offense, number 87. 10-yard penalty, repeat 1st down.
This was hog tie A, I believe.
In the right city for hog tying. Well, the bus was stopped on that play because of holding. Mark Bruner. Yeah. Mark Bruner, the holder on that. In fact, Mark was drafted in the 1st round in '95, the same draft in which Kordell Stewart was taken in the 2nd round. Out of the University of Washington, Bruner's caught 9 balls this year, 4 of them for touchdowns.
And Brendan Stye, their starting right guard, was a 3rd-round draft choice in '95.
Not bad. 1st down and 20 now after the holding call. And Stewart hit as he throws, and the pass is short, incomplete, intended for Yancey Thigpen.
Say they got some production out of that 95 draft. Of course, nothing like what on the other side of the ball the Chiefs are getting out of their '96 draft, where their 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th-round draft choices all are starting on their defensive unit.
2 of them, they're safeties. Jerome Woods and Reggie Tongue. Woods the 1st-round pick, Tongue the 2nd-round pick, and they played superbly at times, but they have been inconsistent and made mistakes.
2nd down and 20. And a swing pass called in by Bettis. And when you talk about drafting and trading, and Bettis came in a trade and picking up free agents, the reason these 2 teams have been so successful, you look at the front office and what's been done. And in Pittsburgh's case, a guy like Tom Donahoe, with all the changes they've had, and O'Donnell gone, and Rod Woodson gone, and Chad Brown gone, they keep plugging in the new parts.
And could any general manager operate with a lower profile than Tom Donahoe?
Exactly. Nobody knows who he is.
You look at the press guide, he's not even in it.
But he's terrific. On the other side, Carl Peterson and his group in Kansas City. This team getting, and there's Carl, the president of the team, year after year, going to postseason. 3rd and 13 from the 39. And Stewart hit from behind by Donnie Edwards as he releases.
The class of '96, he was the 4th-round pick last year for the Kansas City Chiefs. The other one, we mentioned the 2 safeties, John Browning, the 3rd-round pick, the defensive end.
Close to a fumble.
Yeah, the crowd groaning, not thinking that Stewart had his arm moving forward.
But even had it been a fumble, it would have been their ball as it went out of bounds. And Josh Miller the punt. Angles it to the near side. Vanover picks it up on a hop at the 15. And steps out of bounds at the 25. You make the call as we look at that play again. Was his arm coming forward or not?
This guy
right now.
Coming at us. 50-50. I won't make the call.
The cool zone in Kansas City. I don't think you need fans tonight.
I think there's some heating elements in there.
Yes.
And I wish that thing was pointed our direction.
It is a first down at the 25-yard line as Elvis Grbac has that tipped and almost picked off. Donnell Wolford was there. The pass was intended for Dana Hughes.
And if Wolford doesn't trip going over the top of Hughes, he may have a shot at intercepting that thing.
Meanwhile, we can tell you that the report on Ted Thompson, he's being x-rayed, but he is moving and he is alert. And that is the report from downstairs. Kevin Henry is the guy who got his hand on that last pass. Second down and 10 from the 25-yard line. Marcus Allen, 8-yard gain, tackled by Kevin Henry at the 33-yard line. Great schedule. This year, it's been a fabulous schedule for us. 4 games have gone down to the wire. Next week, we go to Philadelphia. Critical game for the Eagles, coming off their loss yesterday to the Cardinals, and the 49ers are blazing hot. 8 in a row, including yesterday's win against the Cowboys. San Francisco at Philadelphia next Monday night. Third and 2, and they give it to Allen again, and Marcus picks up the first down. Just keeps those legs going and churns his way across the 35 to move the chains.
I think next Monday night, Ricky Watters might be a little excited to play against his former teammates. Not that Ricky needs much to get excited.
Marcus Allen having probably his most productive game of the season.
And that is the end of the third quarter. Kansas City leading Pittsburgh 13-10. And Monday Night Football returns after this from our ABC stations. And we're back in Kansas City.
You get the idea?
Yep, it's a little cool tonight.
Unseasonably cool.
Kansas City has it as we start the fourth quarter. First down from the 36-yard line, and Grbac throws to a wide open Andre Rison for a first down at the Pittsburgh 45-yard line.
Steelers had a kind of sophisticated stunt with their linemen up front, and Kansas City picked it up beautifully. They came with the blitz, came with some deals, and they picked it up. And Grbac stepped up and fired the ball into Andre Rison. This time, Rison open probably for the first time tonight. They've been covering him with 2 and sometimes 3 people, taking him out of the game.
That's Andre's 4th catch. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up nicely, but then Marcus Allen trips in the backfield, and Earl Holmes makes it official. Marcus, no doubt, headed for the Hall of Fame as Jim Haslett, the defensive coordinator, looks over his notes. And Marcus has made it very plain, very clear. He said, I am going in to the Hall of Fame as a Kansas City Chief.
They ought to waive the 5 years on him.
Looks like he just hit the heel.
His own man.
It looks like Dave Zott, his left guard, just clipped his heel.
Second down and 10 from the 45-yard line.
Here comes everybody.
Grbac just throws it away.
That should get a flag.
And
Elvis is hurt.
Nolan Harrison is the guy.
And Grbac is in real pain.
Rich Gannon is the backup quarterback.
They're calling intentional grounding against Grbac.
Well, there's no question about that. The question now is how seriously is he injured?
Well, see, this is a case that no matter how far back he dropped, he's still technically in the quote-unquote pocket because he's between the tackles. In that case, you just cannot throw the football away, and unable to protect himself, driven into the ground by Harrison.
Intentional grounding by the quarterback. 10-yard penalty on the spot of the pass. Loss of down. Brings up third down.
Proper call by Ed Hockley, the referee.
Rich Gannon is loosening up, and no matter what Gbac's condition, even if he's able to continue when he gets up, he'll have to come out for at least a play. Gannon has not thrown a pass this season, but he'll be coming in the fourth quarter.
This is Imagine TV.
ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, brought to you by Mercury. Go ahead, imagine yourself in a Mercury. Sprint PCS, Sprint Monday nights, they're free and clear. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. And Motrin IB, prescription proven power.
The crowd giving Grbac a hand. You see them holding his left arm to his body. The shame of it all for Elvis is it's the act of throwing the football away that leaves him exposed as he's unable to protect himself and gets driven into the ground. If he's still holding a football, Frank, he's much better able to protect himself.
Came right down on that left elbow, which will drive that forearm, the upper arm, right into the shoulder, and that's what they're looking at.
He is just unable to move anything on the left side there.
You know, Gannon has not thrown a ball this season.
He hasn't thrown a pass. He played in one game briefly against San Diego, and he inherits a 3rd and 22. And he dumps one off over the middle. It is caught by Kimball Anders, and he takes it to the 49, and now they're forced to kick. So Rich Gannon, who's been around a long time, and they work on Elvis Grbac, and Pittsburgh about ready to get the ball again as Louis Aguiar comes in to punt.
And now the game of field position becomes extremely important for Kansas City's defense, as a tremendous amount of pressure is now placed on them to protect this 3-point lead.
Louis Aguiar floats one that bounces at the 20-yard line and rolls out of bounds at the 9.
Well, Aguiar did his part.
And now Grbac is ushered back. We'll get a report. Pittsburgh gets it deep in Steeler territory. Brought to you by Budweiser. Tony Baselli, the Jaguar tackle, will miss at least 3 weeks, sprained right ankle. Sean Springs, the Seahawks' great rookie cornerback, undergoing surgery, broken thumb. He'll miss 3 to 6 weeks. Heath Schuler starts a quarterback for the Saints at Oakland on Sunday, probably because Mike Ditka couldn't find Jim McMahon.
I doubt that was an extensive search.
Yes. At the 9-yard line, on first down, Kordell Stewart hits Courtney Hawkins. He makes the catch up at the 24-yard line, and he's tackled by Reggie Tugg.
Steelers have struggled through much of the second quarter, through the third quarter, and it's been the good news for them is they're only 3 points down. The bad news, they've just, until this completion here, have been able to generate very little on offense whatsoever.
1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. Here's Bettis, and Jerome, who is over 1,000 yards this season, gets knocked down at the 36, so he's 2nd in the league in rushing. Started the night in 3rd, behind only Terrell Davis of the Broncos.
When he comes to a gaping hole like that at the line of scrimmage, the defensive backs, they just have to shudder a little bit. So they are going to meet a load in Jerome Bettis.
Well, let's face it right now, there's a bit of a psychological edge on the side of the Steelers. They know they've knocked the opposing team's quarterback out of the game. They're trailing. Talk about incentive.
From the 37-yard line. On a roll, Stewart nimbly steps away. And then nimbly steps out of bounds at the 40-yard line. gains 3.
What a superb athlete.
Vaughn Booker was the Kansas City player that had both arms wrapped around Stewart.
Or at least thought he did.
Yeah, well,
he's smiling. How could I do that?
Well, he had him. Nice little fake by Kordell to act like he's going to throw the ball. And this is the 90s version of give him a leg and take it away.
There it is right there.
Yeah.
And watch it. Now, Kordell Stewart maybe a few weeks ago would have tried to force that ball into a receiver. He didn't do it. He picked up the gain. Conservative. Didn't risk the interception. He's learning every game, every play.
2nd and 6 up at the 41-yard line. The bus again. Turns the corner, and he's close to 100 yards now as Donnie Edwards forces him out of bounds at the 44-yard line.
It has to be so surprising for a defender to see a man of Jerome Bettis' size get to the corner and actually pressure contain as easily as he does.
Well, that's what we're seeing on almost every occasion. He's so big, you underestimate his speed and his quickness, and they wind up arm tackling him, and that's almost impossible.
I remember when Otis Anderson first came into the league. A lot of people made that same mistake, thinking a guy that big can't get to the corner that easily.
3rd and a long 3 from the gun. A flip to Jones, and Davis makes a great tackle. Davis was able to fight off Dermontti Dawson and prevent Pittsburgh from getting a first down.
Terrific defensive effort there by Davis.
It looked like Dawson actually knocked Davis right into the... He actually had a good block on Davis. What a play.
And Jones tried to take it to the outside, and Davis was right there. But an excellent play by Davis.
You're right, Dawson came up short, really never got into the legs of Davis. Well defended.
Now Josh Miller. Vanover calls for the fair catch, but lets it bounce at the 5, and it skitters into the end zone. And Kansas City will take it at the 20 with Rich Gannon at the helm. 9:47 left in regulation. Chiefs by 3. And of Thursday on ABC, nothing sacred, cracker, and then 2020 comes your way. Sunday, Angels in the end zone as part of the wonderful world of Disney, and then into thin air, Death on Everest Sunday night. Monday, we go to Philadelphia. Good matchup as the 49ers take on the Eagles on Monday Night Football. From the 20-yard line, Rich Gannon's first pass, or second pass, is his first completion, caught by Lake Dawson, tackled by Donnell Wolford.
Gannon had 6 years with the Minnesota Vikings. He was a starter there for a couple of years, but in the past couple of years here at Kansas City, he has been primarily the backup.
Well, you know that Rich Gannon knows the offense. You know Rich Gannon is a seasoned pro and can do whatever it is needs to be done. He just didn't get the reps during the week. All of those went to Elvis Grbac.
Now they give it to Greg Hill, swinging to the outside. He gets buried at the 24-yard line. Crowd hates the call. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Well, hard to argue with a running play.
This is a swarming defense for the Steelers. They pursue about as good as any football team in the league. Out of that 3-4, they're very effective because those 4 linebackers all have speed and size. And Greg Lloyd, maybe he isn't 100% yet from that knee surgery he had a year ago last September. But at 85 or 90, he's awesome.
And he's locked in on Kimball Anders.
3rd down and 6. Steelers show blitz. Here they come. Picked up very well low. And it's caught up at the 35-yard line by Danon Hughes.
Good blitz pickup on the part of Kansas City. Gave Gannon time to get rid of the ball, and Hughes was able to break it for the first down. Single coverage by Wolford. Gannon with a good throw. That's tough, coming off the bench.
George Brett is here, the great Kansas City Royal for years and years and years, who applied his straight across the parking lot, looking on the sideline. First down, KC at the 35-yard line as Gannon throws. Kimball Anders makes the catch, and Jason Gilden stays right with him and takes him down for a loss. And Lamar Hunt clearly, when you think about it, you go through some of the most influential people of the 20th century in sports. Don't forget this man. I mean, the American Football League was his idea. In his mid-20s, he came up with the idea, and he and Ralph Wilson and Bud Adams, I mean, they still own their respective franchises.
Always willing to work behind the scenes, never out front.
This is, this is truly a matchup between two of the really class organizations in all of professional football, with Dan Rooney against Lamar Hunt. This is
you think of the Rooney family, late Art.
These are the rocks that the foundation of this league is built upon. The work that these families have done.
Lamar started this franchise in Dallas. You'll recall they were the Dallas Texans, and then came up here 3 years into their existence. 3rd down and 7 at the 38-yard line. And he swings it out, and it's taken in by Kimball Anders, but he gets tackled at the 40-yard line, well short of the first down, and they'll be forced to kick with 6.5 on the clock.
Good play by Chad Scott, the rookie who was left out on the corner. Kimball Anders, a very elusive guy in the open field. He tried to put a move on Scott to shake him for the first down, and Scott was all over it.
A good coverage downfield. It forced Gannon to go to the checkoff, and that wasn't enough to get the first.
Louis Aguiar to punt. Andre Coleman back to accept it. Aguiar has never had a punt block. It's a 40-yard kick. Coleman out of bounds at the 22-yard line. 5:50 left in regulation. Well, the bus tonight, the bus has rambled for a total of 99 yards on 16 carries. Jerome is now 2nd in the league.
The offense looked like a greyhound.
Yes.
But just look at the way this game has changed. He had 60-some yards in the first quarter. It looked early on in this ball game that Jerome Bettis would have no problem reaching 100 yards almost prior to halftime. 68 yards in the first quarter, only 31 in the entire rest of the game to this point.
At the 23-yard line, first down. There's been no scoring in the second half. And that's caught by Hawkins. And he's up to the 40-yard line. With Charles Johnson gone, Yancey Thigpen has picked up the slack, at least in the past couple of weeks, but they've corralled him tonight. In the meantime, Hawkins has caught a touchdown pass, and on the night he has 4 receptions for 72 yards.
And again, as we look at Hawkins, you think about the management of this team that brought this receiver in from Tampa Bay after they lost Andre Hastings and Ernie Mills, and all of a sudden with Johnson down, Hawkins is a big-time performer.
Here comes the bus. He's up and over 100 yards as he thrusts his way up to the 45-yard line.
It's just remarkably consistent how Jerome Bettis ends up on the field at least 2 or 3 yards beyond where he is initially hit by a defender. Not just every now and then, virtually every time that Bettis gets hit, he ends up at least a couple yards down.
You know, a lot of Dan is the size. He's got the size and the speed, but he also has great feet. Ordinarily, he's going to lose a balance. He keeps his balance and gets another yard or 2 out of it.
5 straight Monday night games for Bettis into triple figures on the ground. On 2nd and 6, the pass is incomplete. It's Yancey Thigpen, the intended receiver. 3rd down and 6. So Chan Gailey with a very key call here with 4:29 left. And on the other side, Gunther Cunningham on the left. His defense, which early on was getting shredded in the first quarter, has turned it completely around.
Eric Thomas wearing that brace on that left arm. That's where he has the damaged tricep.
They started the game without it, but had to put it back on early.
4 receivers out of the gun. Play clock down to 2. Stewart throws, and it's caught by Hawkins looking for that first down, but gets taken down by a quartet of Chiefs about 2 yards shy of it. And Kordell looks over to the bench and he says, I've got about this much to go.
No.
And at this stage of the game at midfield, you almost have to punt.
Well, you have all of your timeouts and you have the 2-minute warning, so you know as you're going to give the ball away, you can stop the clock 4 times.
And they have their backup quarterback that will be trying to run the clock out for them. Oh wow.
A sink. A complete sink by Miller.
Oh, boy.
This guy is one of the most inconsistent punters I have seen in this league in quite a while.
And that is an understatement.
Whoa. He is all over the place. And I think you can tell by the look on his face that one of the places he might not be is Pittsburgh.
Bill Cowher can look more angry than any coach I've ever known in my life. He does not hide any emotion.
Now the Chiefs from the 32 after a 20-yard shank. And a big play is made by Holmes as Bennett gets tackled for a loss.
Well, out of that 3-4 defense, the Steelers, they can do so many things, and they do it so well.
And Pittsburgh takes a timeout. That's their first.
I don't know what we'll learn by watching, but we sure couldn't. Looks like it might be, his leg might be hurting.
I'd be limping too.
Yes.
As good as that kick was last week against Jacksonville, that one was equally as bad. And Bill expressing his displeasure grammatically and dramatically.
Now Jim Haslett, the defensive coordinator, so far so good. They're able to stop him for a loss on first down. They've got 2 timeouts or have 2 timeouts remaining, plus the 2-minute warning.
We started to say a moment ago about the 3-4 and the sophistication they can come with defensive schemes. Their 3 down linemen only had, coming into tonight's game, 3 sacks. There were 24 total sacks, so 21 sacks have been made by linebackers or defensive backs for the Steelers.
You got to come at Gannon.
2nd and 13, and Gannon throws, and it's incomplete. They came at him. There's a flag down. Lake Dawson was the intended receiver. Flag at the line of scrimmage.
I tell you, that could have been defensive call against the defensive cornerback. It was Chad Scott that was up there.
Ed Hockley is the referee, and it is against the Steelers.
Oh, this will bring a first down with it if it's
exactly.
Illegal hands to the face mask by the defense, number 95. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Wow.
Greg Lloyd.
That's a killer. Greg Lloyd lines up on the edge of the formation. He's the bottom Steeler. He's trying to chuck the tight end coming off, and you saw he had his hand caught up in the face mask. Boy, he didn't exactly give it a yank or anything. It was there.
It was Derek Walker with the hands to the face. Lloyd costing them a first down, and now it's Donnell Bennett, and this is what they did last week against St. Louis. Power says, I need a timeout, give it to me now. But last week, as they chewed up the clock and ran it out in St. Louis, they went to Bennett, and he did the job over the last 5 minutes of the game. Now, of course, Cowher's pinned himself into the corner where he takes another timeout here, and if the Chiefs get a first down, they can come pretty close to running the clock out.
Now, he's betting on his defense at this point, Al.
Boy, what a critical call against Greg Lloyd with that hands to the face. It wasn't there for long, but it was there. And, geez, you just know how awful he feels right now, giving Kansas City a mandatory first down with that penalty.
Well, he's out on the corner, right where he's exposed, and he got the hand on the mask.
And you know, the field judge downfield is responsible for watching the tight end release. The right hand right there goes to the face mask.
Well, he did.
Yep,
his helmet.
He had it long enough. There's no way the field judge, who zeroed in on those two players, isn't going to make that call.
Exactly.
2nd and 2 from the 41-yard line. Bennett again. First down to the Pittsburgh 44-yard line.
The Steelers had their run blitz on. Bennett moved to the outside. Not only gets the first down, but big yardage. You can get hurt when you run blitz.
Well, you got a great block at the point of attack by the tight end. Then you got a good block by the wide receiver. Lloyd gets pinned to the inside. Then the wide receiver to that side makes a key block. Here's the block right here by Gonzalez. And then there comes the wide receiver, Lake Dawson. He makes the block on Perry. That's just excellent execution by the Chiefs.
174 yards on the ground for the Chiefs tonight against the league's #1 run defense. And Marcus Allen picks up one more. It's the most yardage as Cowher calls a timeout. The Steelers have yielded on the ground since the first game of the '94 season.
That's the last timeout. It'll stop at the 2-minute warning.
Again, if you came here just within the last 15-20 minutes, Elvis Grbac removed from the field with some type of an injury to his left shoulder, his left arm, and Rich Gannon has had to take over.
Look down at Arrowhead Stadium. Goodyear providing the aerial photography tonight in what is, at the moment anyway, the happy home of the Kansas City Chiefs, who are a couple of minutes away from going to a mark of 7-2. The ESPN Sunday night game features the Steelers as they go home to take on the Baltimore Ravens. And then Monday Night Football from across Pennsylvania on Monday night as we go to Philadelphia for the Eagles against the 49ers. Gannon on a bootleg. And that should wrap it up as Gannon takes it to the 30-yard line.
He wasn't thinking about going out of bounds. He was thinking about getting a first down. He dove for it, and he got it.
And that's something Rich Gannon has done all of his career. Rich Gannon, a very mobile quarterback with excellent speed. And another sensational call by Paul Hackett, the offensive coordinator, and Marty Schottenheimer.
That'll take it to the 2-minute warning. Look again, though. He's got that first down marker. He knows right where it is.
Bedlam at Arrowhead.
Relax. Aquafresh Whitening gives you all the fluoride of Crest or Colgate, but whitens better with a patented tri-clean formula that gently breaks up stains. Aquafresh Whitening for dazzling whiter teeth.
Tuesday on ABC.
What's Jill to do when Wilson's niece hits on the tool man?
If only every man was as evolved as you.
There's never been a better time to own a TV.
You can cast your Pro Bowl ballot for your favorite players. Go to the Pro Bowl balloting area at Team NFL on America Online. Keyword ABC Sports. Pro Bowl balloting, and we will be in Honolulu for the Pro Bowl on the first Sunday in February.
Rich Gannon coming up with a big play, and they can pretty much run the clock out now. And you have to wonder about Elvis Grbac, who was taken away with the injured left shoulder. Kansas City will go to Jacksonville next week, and then they'll be home to Denver. Two tough games coming up for them.
Pittsburgh can only stop it once, and Kansas City can, in effect, run the clock out. And this is the way this one will come to a conclusion at Arrowhead Stadium. Pittsburgh had been 7-0 in regular season play against Kansas City here, but that will come to an end tonight. And Lynn Swan, let's check in downstairs. Lynn?
Well, Al, I just wanted to give you an update on Ted Popson. He went in. Both his father, Dick, and his brother Chris were here at this game, and his fiancee Shannon. They came down to the tunnel. They were not able to see him, but then they took him out of the locker room area and they took him to the hospital. His fiancee rode with him. His brother and his father trailed behind in a car. They are not going to release the results of the x-rays or which hospital he's going to, but as we stated before, it's a mild head trauma and soreness to his neck, Al.
All right, thank you, Lynn. Well, we wish the best, obviously, for Ted. Ken Wolf has produced Monday Night Football, as he has over the past 12 years so brilliantly, directed by Craig Janoff. Joey Chavo, our technical director, along with our associate producer, Ben Harvey. Jaime Bravo is our AD, as they say in the trade. Bob Simon, Claude Phipps, and Hal Schmitz helping to send the sights and sounds out. Chris Pfeiffer and Bill Boland, the assistants to the producer, and Steve Hurt, our illustrious director of information. Ken Bauer up here in the booth with us. George Hill, our statistician, and spotting as always by the incomparable Malibu Kelly Hayes. Rich Gannon with a kneel down. 78,000 in full throat. And Marty Schottenheimer took a little mini bath there because his team is now 7-2. Carl Peterson congratulates him. And the Pittsburgh Steelers will go home with a mark of 6-3. Kansas City goes to 7-2 to stay a game back of Denver. A scoreless second half. Marty with a tomahawk chop and a victory. 13-10.